Lightyear is, so obviously we know Buzz comes from Toy Story. And the idea is that in Toy Story, he had a toy Buzz Lightyear. And that action figure came from the movie Lightyear. So Lightyear is the movie that made Andy want to get the Buzz Lightyear action figure.
And technically, Tim Allen's voice, everyone's like, he's the original. Technically, he was copied off Chris Evans' voice from the film. Technically, he recorded that after the movie came out. So we're in a time loop. We're in a time loop here. You know, as a storyteller myself, my impression of Pixar as storytellers themselves is that I've always looked up to them. I've been watching the Pixar films for many years. You know, I've got all-time favorites like Up and Inside Out, because you know they gave the message, you know, to just not only to us but to children especially, you know, that it's okay to be in touch with human emotions and that emotions are real, and that, you know, there are things that human problems and things you're going to go through when you grow older, and it's all valid, and you know, prepare yourself, and that's what everyone goes through. And I think Up is one of the greatest films because it's, you know, it's just that image of having to get rid of all of the stuff out of his house, and including those last two heavy chairs, which are the things, his memories and the things that he was holding on to, you know, with his wife. But in order for him to fly and save this kid and to set off into the sky and also into the future, you got to let that stuff go. And you know, and that's what's freeing. It's just simple, beautiful messages like that. It's why the Pixar films are the greatest.
Oh man, Takani Prime. It is. It's got sentient plants. And so it's as though you're in the Amazon, but it's trying to move in and get itself around your arms and legs at all times. Part of what the Zap Patrol does is keep this sort of living snake-like foliage cut back to help, you know, let people move from one place to the other. That's sort of the big image I have of Takani Prime. There's a lot of industrial-looking buildings that were built after they got marooned there over the period of time that they've actually, you know, tried to make have made a city of some kind.
The Junior Zap Patrol are consisting of myself, Izzy, my character, Izzy Hawthorne, Darby, Mo, and essentially, and Derek, or Eric, I should say, which you'll see in the movie. But essentially, they are a patrol that is not quite yet at the level of being, you know, the real, you know, the real Rangers. So they're kind of like assembled this junior patrol where they're trying to learn and figure out how to actually become, you know, get to that next level of actually being real, quote-unquote, heroes.
So Lightyear is the film that was made back in 1994, and which then inspired the toy that was made afterwards that Andy from the Toy Story films asked his mother for his birthday. And so she went out in 1995 when that film came out, she got the toy and gave it to Andy. And so that's sort of like the universe of Toy Story and Buzz Lightyear and how they're related.
Well, everything in some respects was certainly with regard to working with fantastically talented and in my opinion they must be very good-hearted people to have turned out the kind of films that they have turned out, which are heart and wise and inside of you and outside of you and, you know, appealing to children and adults. It's really it's a phenomenon. And I'm sure that, you know, it's been nurtured in a certain kind of way, but I'm very happy to be part of it. Very happy. That's Darby's version of being very happy.
So Izzy Hawthorne, her grandmother is actually Alicia Hawthorne, who was a ranger, a space ranger with Buzz Lightyear. So she has all this history of who Buzz is, and she has all this really rich, great history about the legacy of her grandmother as this amazing space ranger before they got marooned, where Izzy essentially grew up. And so Izzy is just this curious emerging leader who already has all the tools that she needs to be everything that she wants to be. But her journey in Lightyear is about discovering that herself and with all of her friends in the Junior Zap Patrol.
Mo Morrison is the character I play, and he comes from a broken home. He was raised by his mother in a community full of solo mothers. So he's only ever known women. He feels comfortable around women, and so like this little group is perfect for him. He's got Izzy and he's got Darby, who kind of guide him. He looks up to them, and he wants to help, but just because he's often clumsy and unfocused and not concentrating, it often leads to more problems when he does try to help.
Okay, well, Darby Steele is a woman of an advanced age, who's in very good shape, who is recently been incarcerated, and part of her parole may be lessened if she does well as a part of the Junior Zap Patrol. It's sort of like community service for me, It turns out to be much, much more than that. It gives me actually a purpose to end up in the story, actually, becoming the crew. It's very, fantastic for her.
Well, first I'd like to say when it comes to Pixar and Disney, especially for this character, Izzy, who is so major in terms of representation, I appreciated how they really took the time with her hair and the differentiation between her character and her grandmother Alicia. They look different. They come from the same lineage. You can see the resemblance, but they're their own person. And that's also apparent in the attributes of her personality. Izzy has a lot of the same qualities that her grandmother had because she helped raise her. However, she has her own personal journey and experience, which I think we all can relate to when we're trying to reach back from what our parents gave us or what our legacy means to us, and how we're able to channel that into who we actually are and what we can bring to the table as individuals. So watching her go on that journey is really cool.
So Buzz has this singular focus throughout the film, which is to accomplish his original mission, which is to manufacture the correct crystal so that they can achieve super light-year space travel, and in doing so get his colony back home. And it's because of his big mistake that they're trapped on Takani Prime. So he's trying to rectify that. He's trying to make amends and atone for what he did. But every time he goes out, he travels around the star, and it takes him about 3 or 4 minutes. But every time he does that, for everyone back on Takani Prime, it takes about 4 years. So he goes out time and time again trying to fix this mistake. And as he does so, he misses out on a whole life. And he loses friends, and people grow old back on the planet, and that's a major sacrifice that he has to make, is that he sees his life and what could have been passing by because of this obsession.
That she's never she's never knowingly unkind or cruel. She's just annoyed and curmudgeonly. And easily annoyed. But if, she's straightforward. Just simple and straightforward. And she has a lot of skills, and she knows she has a lot of skills, and she knows how to use them. For instance, I have here a bobby pin. And I could probably get into any lock in the state of California with that bobby pin. But it's pretty legal,
I also have a pen. I've got this pen, and I think if I gave that to Dale, what she could do with that bobby pin and this pen.
Only, the saints preserve us. We don't know what would happen. And I think she likes the fact that she's accomplished at ingenuity. She does not have a lot of mathematical learning, but she understands the physics principles and knows how to apply them in such a way that she can take any three things and make them do something that they wouldn't have done before, shall we say.
For a while now, I've been talking about the first time I watched Toy Story, and been talking about how when I was a kid, how it affected me, and growing up, having watched Toy Story was a big deal. In actual fact, I realized I wasn't a child at all. I was 20 years old when I first saw it. So, I mean, I don't know. Either I'm just like I've forgotten most of what's happened before the year 2005, or the film was so good it affected me on a level where it unlocked my inner child, and and that's what the great power of the Pixar films. It doesn't matter what your age. It taps into that little boy or little girl or that young person within you.
I mean, I think like with Disney and Pixar, their films always mean more as they grow. They have multiple different meanings to them. And for me, when it comes to Toy Story, all I think about is how no matter how old you grow, how time moves on and the same things, maybe you don't use them every day or they don't mean what they used to mean to you. What they gave you is always going to be there. And that's what it was with Andy and his toys. The creativity he was able to share with the toys, the memories that he had with them when he moved and he lost them and he got them back, and they were always there to remind him that that part of him still lives on. And I think I always try to hold on to that piece of me, as I continue to grow. I always try to hold on to that childlike nature, you know what I mean? The side of me that's not afraid to explore.
And Dale, did you want to comment on the Toy Story?
Oh, well, the Toy Story. I love Woody. Always did, always will. I am probably affectionately drawn to Buzz, always, in the sense of he so wants to do good. It's a kind of almost matronly, motherly kind of a feeling. As a grown up when I saw it, I'm old enough. I was probably in my mid-40s or more. So yeah, Woody essentially, but Buzz also, but in a little bit different way. That's all.